Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Krame Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Ganana Antva Ganapati Gumhava Mahe Kavin Kavina Mupashravastamam Jeshtrajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Ana Shrunvan Notibhisi Dasadanam Om Shri Buddhi Siddhi Shakti Sahita Shri Mahaganadipate Namo Namaha Om Raja Ganapate Namo Namaha Om Vijay Ganapate Namo Namaha Om Uchishta Ganapate Namo Namaha Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Gnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyadi Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalavachanam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Gudati Tavaksharam Brahma Bhagwan Purushottama Janojananidam Satyam Uchyate Bhavabandhanata Om Shree Swaminarayan Namo Namaha Om Parabrahmane Namo Namaha Om Akshara Brahmane Namo Namaha Om Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha Om Hari Om. This is Sachin Karnik speaking. I have started today this recording on drawing the appropriate parallel between Vivekchudamani, which is a scripture written by Shree Adi Shankaracharya, and the teachings of Bhagwan Swaminarayan in Vachanamrutam, Shikshapatri, Vedas, and other scriptures. These recordings are in English, although some Hindi, Gujarati, and of course Sanskrit will come. Sanskrit language will be used also. So I'm going to start here with a prayer that I pray to all the great acharyas, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, Guru Parampara, the various Guru Paramparas that are present today in the Sampradaya of Swaminarayan, and of course the Hindu Sanatan Dharma tradition, starting from Ved Vyasa onwards, bow down to all the acharyas, for the purpose of elucidating and expounding upon the esoteric and highly transcendental, as well as the practical, very practical aspects of Vedanta that are expounded in the Vivekchudamani as well as by Bhagwan Swaminarayan. The reason I'm drawing this parallel, because I do not believe this has been done in this way before. It has been done by scholars, no doubt, but in some other formats. I want to draw this parallel primarily for my own clearer understanding and growth. It is really for that purpose, but I want to also make these recordings for the purpose of really bringing out as clearly as possible the teachings of Shree Swaminarayan in the context of the Vedantic tradition. Because the tradition of Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic Vedanta, is the foundation upon which Ramanujacharya and all the other acharyas, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, as well as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and others who came after Shankaracharya, have based their philosophies. If it wasn't for Shree Shankaracharya, none of these other philosophies could have actually come about. And they're not just philosophies, they're darshana shastras. They are darshanas, they are visions of reality. So that is where Bhagwan Swaminarayan also comes in along that same line, that he is considered by the followers of the Sampradaya, of the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, also originally known as the Uddhav Sampradaya, as the supreme personality of Godhead, as the supreme being who came in human form, Purna Purushottam Narayana, who manifested in the form of Sri Sahajanand Swami. So I'm going to go through Vivekchudamani. I don't know how long this will all take, but I'm going to go verse by verse and then draw the parallels and where the differences are, where the similarities are, and what the practical implications are all the way around. I cannot do this in Gujarati, not well at least. I could do it, but it would not be done very well. So to do it properly, I would have to use the English language, and we'll take it from there. So I pray to all the great acharyas, to all the great avtaras, to Bhagwan Swaminarayan, the various Guru Paramparas, the great sages, devotees right now in all Hinduism, all throughout the world, because it is not about Hinduism, it is Sanatan Dharma, which is not an ism of any kind. It is the expanded universal realization of Akshara Brahma and Parabrahma. In whatever form one may understand that, it is the realization that is important more than anything else. So we're starting here. A little bit about Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, of course, you may know his background. He was a very enlightened being, considered to be an incarnation of Bhagwan Shiv, Lord Shiva. And he has written extensively. So 80% of his literature are all stotras. They are devotional songs towards the five devas. They are the five main deities within the Hindu tradition, and then all the sampradayas that came out of those deities. Those five deities are Lord Ganesha, Bhagwan Shiv, Bhagwan Ganesh, Bhagwan Shiv, Bhagwan Vishnu, Devi meaning Mahashakti, and Surya Narayana. So Swaminarayan Bhagwan also has, in the Shikshapatri, accepted these five as worthy of worship and has maintained that foundation, just as Shankaracharya did. So you'll see the parallel right there. So in Shikshapatri, Maharaj has given what is called Sanman, that he has given a great deal of respect in regard to the five great deities. And Shankaracharya wrote 80% of his scriptures in the stotra form towards these five deities. Of course, the flavor of Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic Vedanta, is always in them. And as he progressed further, when he wrote Vivekchudamani is completely non-dualistic. Its basic tenet is that the Jivatma and the Akshara Brahma, the Brahman, is one. So sometimes it is pronounced as Brahman in the English language, but it is actually pronounced Brahma, or Akshara Brahma. So I'll be using Akshara or Akshara Brahma to clarify this, because I think it has been mispronounced by saying Brahman. It's not Brahman really, it is Brahma, Akshara Brahma, like this, the imperishable, infinite reality. And so we will get into all of this carefully. I want to open this up step by step. Before getting started, I once again bow down to all the great incarnations of God, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, and all the great sages, and to all of you for taking the time to listen to these recordings. All right, so here we go. The very first verse of Vivekchudamani is an invocation, and its English translation is, "My salutations to Shree Sadguru Govinda, who is of the nature of bliss supreme, who can be known only through the import of the essence of Vedanta, and who is beyond the reach of the known instruments of perception." Okay, so I'm going to break this up into this original Sanskrit and see where it goes from there. So the very first word is Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. So this is the first word, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam, which means that which is the essence of all Vedanta, that which is the conclusion of all Vedanta, that is called Siddhanta. Siddhanta meaning like fundamental reality, fundamental truth, is something that he is going to expound upon. So, that Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. So he is bowing down very respectfully to his Guru, Govindapad, and it can also mean Lord Krishna. That's another way of looking at it. And Govinda is Paramanandam, who is infinite bliss, the highest bliss, greatest bliss. That is Paramanandam. And of course Govindam means that Govinda is his spiritual master, Govindapad, and also Lord Krishna. And then the word Agocharam. Agocharam means that which is beyond the senses. So Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam. So that which is beyond the senses is Vedanta. This is a very basic starting point. Before we can understand Swaminarayan Sampradaya in its real sense, the foundation of Vedanta, particularly Shankaracharya's Vivekchudamani, must be there. And the Vivekchudamani's various verses are quoted by Paramahansas of Bhagwan Swaminarayan in many places. And Maharaj himself, meaning Swaminarayan Bhagwan himself, has quoted certain verses from here in the Vachanamrut and other places also. But he did not agree with Shankaracharya's interpretation of Vedanta. He agreed really with Ramanujacharya's. Or he really said that he is in favor of Ramanujacharya's approach. So that will also be clarified as we move through here. But you will see that in this, the foundation is really set beautifully. So we're beginning here. So, the perceivable through the suggestive import of the conclusions of Vedanta, that is Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. That which is perceivable through the suggestive import of the conclusions of Vedanta. Vedanta has made several conclusions. And by the way, the word Vedanta means that which is the end of the Vedas. It is the conclusion of the Vedas. So that is Vedanta. And generally, three main scriptures are used for commentaries on the Vedanta. And these are the Brahma Sutras, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and the third is Upanishad. So Shankaracharya is using these three as a foundation to write this Vivekchudamani. And of course, he has written his Bhashyam, the Shankaracharya Bhashyam on Bhagavad Gita also. So all of that has been done, by him at that time. But anyway, so we want to go slow with this. So the very first word here is that Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam. That which is Agochar. Agochar means beyond the senses, beyond what the senses can perceive. Now this is very interesting. So right there, he's talking about a reality that transcends and goes beyond all sense perception. Okay, right there is very clear. And this point is agreed upon by all the acharyas. Whether you consider God as Sakar, Nirakar, or however you consider God or the Atman, it is something beyond the senses. Whatever that is beyond the senses. And then he uses the word Govindam, Paramanandam, Sadgurum, Pranataha, Asmi Aham. Right? So this is the very first verse. That he is bowing down to his Sadguru. That is his Guru, that is Sadguru Govindapad. In the same way, I am bowing down to Bhagwan Swaminarayan, who is my Sadguru and who is Bhagwan himself, both in one, two in one, everything in one for me. So I'm doing it, drawing a parallel that way. And it's very beautiful. The first verse is very beautiful. It has so much hidden meaning behind it. The word Paramanandam is a recognition that one's Sadguru is Paramananda. If you have Sadguru, you recognize that this is the enlightened being who is living in that agocharam state, in that state that is beyond sense perception. So by recognizing such a sage, and if a sage is in such a state, that is Sadguru. So Sadgurum, the word Sadgurum, Pranataha, so bowing down. Why should we bow down to the Sadguru? Because the Sadguru has that connection with that ultimate reality which is beyond the senses. So that reality which is beyond the senses, Indriyatit. So that reality that the Indriyas, the mind, the senses cannot touch, the Sadguru is in contact with or is the embodiment of that reality. So even in the various scriptures, I believe it's in the Upanishad somewhere, it says, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha, that the mind and the senses cannot reach there. The same point is being made here by Shree Shankaracharya. And this point is also made by Bhagwan Swaminarayan over and over again when he uses the word Akshara Brahma, Parabrahma, or Atma. Any of these words used by Bhagwan Swaminarayan are all referring to this agocharam state. Govindam, that is from Maharaja's point of view, Shriji Maharaj, Swaminarayan Bhagwan, that Govindam, that is the Purushottam Bhagwan. Paramanandam, that is the Bhagwan himself, Sakar form. But of course, here in Vivekchudamani, Sri Shankaracharya is referring to his Guru, and he is bowing down very respectfully. So this is another very important point. This kind of thing was done by Maharaj in the Shikshapatri. Vame yastya sita radha shrishya yasyasti vakshasi vrindavana viharam tam Sri Krishnam rudichinte. The first verse of the Shikshapatri is another kind of invocation. It's an invocation. It's a prayer to Radha and Krishna, that, and really it's that he's saying that I'm holding Radha and Krishna in my heart, Radha, Krishna, Lakshmi within me. I'm bowing down to Lord Krishna. So it shows a sense of egolessness. Shankaracharya didn't have to do this, Maharaj didn't have to do this, but they did it this way to show the significance of giving respect to those who have come before oneself. Even though this is Advaita Vedanta, even then there is this Guru Shishya respect and the importance of maintaining that Guru Shishya Parampara. If that is broken, then there's a problem also. So Maharaj also maintained that. Right, so again, one more time, we will go through this. Just to repeat the beautiful Sanskrit language. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranataha Asmi Aham. This is the first verse. I just kind of broke that down by the actual words. Okay, so again, so the translation again is my salutations to Sri Sadguru, who is of the nature of bliss supreme, highest bliss, Paramanandam, who can be known only through the import of the essence of Vedanta, and who is beyond the reach of the known instruments of perception. The instruments of perception cannot reach there. Okay, so now the next verse, the English translation of verse number 2 is as follows. It's a big verse, and it's a long verse, so we'll go into it slowly. The translation is as follows. For all living creatures, a human birth is indeed rare. Much more difficult it is to attain full manhood. Rarer than this is a sattvic attitude in life. Even after gaining all these rare chances, to have steadfastness on the spiritual path, as explained in the Vedic literature, is yet rarer. Much more so, to have a correct understanding of the deep import of the scriptures. Discrimination between the real and the unreal, a personal realization of spiritual glory, and ultimately to get fully established in the living consciousness that the self in me is the self in all. These come only later on and culminate in one's liberation. This kind of a perfect liberation cannot be obtained without the meritorious deeds of many millions of well-lived lives. This is verse number 2. We're going to go into this very carefully. So what is he saying here? The first line is saying that for each human being, for all the living creatures, because there are so many living creatures, in the scriptures it is written, Chaurashi lakh, or what is called, the 8.4 crore, or 8.4 million creatures. Out of all of them, human birth is rare. So let's stay on that point for a moment here. The first word here is Jantu Nam Narajanma Durlabham. See? So this is the first point here. Jantu Nam Narajanma Durlabham. Durlabham means very, very rare. So you see the parallel with Bhagavan Swaminarayan, how he has taken this and evolved it even further. You'll see this thing. So the first point is that this human body we have is something extraordinary. It's very rare. To accept that fact, that this is not something that has just come by accident. This is something tremendous that has come to us. And Narajanma meaning human birth. That means male, but it really in this we can interpret as human body, human birth. And it is Durlabh. Durlabh meaning Durlabham. It is rare. If we meditate on this point, how rare human body is, we will not waste the opportunity to reach enlightenment. Most of the people in the world with the human body, the human beings that are here now, are not aware of what the human body is capable of. You see, it has tremendous capacity, phenomenal capacity, and it is durlabham, rare. You see, and that rareness, that rarity is there because there are just countless life forms, and the consciousness within has to evolve to come to obtain a human body. And if that human birth is wasted, then it is a terrible thing. So the first point is that the human birth is very, very, very rare. Okay, now the next point Shree Shankaracharya makes, he says, Ataha Punsatvam, meaning the manhood is rare. Manhood meaning it is not about, how to explain this. This is not about male body as such. It has to do with the fact that in anybody's body, this is my interpretation at least, that there is a phenomenal capacity, and that capacity he's talking about is that manhood. It's that vitality within. It's that energy within. to recognize that that is there is even more rare, because people are just wasting their time and energy and effort on useless things and entrapping themselves further. Maharaj Bhagwan Swaminarayan, said himself that he has come to destroy the original beginningless ignorance attached to the Jivatma. And this point Shankaracharya also makes about beginningless ignorance later on. So the fact is that Punsattvam is also rare, meaning that activation or the recognition of how much manhood, again manhood, womanhood, in the sense that the fullness of one's being, recognizing one's capacities, is rare. And then the next point is that the sattvic attitude in life is even more rare than that. So there are 3 stages here. Okay, so first stage is that the human birth is rare. Then full awareness of one's manhood or womanhood, I'm going to put it that way, the awareness, the capacities that we have, that is rare. And then from those capacities to have a sattvic life is even more rare. So Shankaracharya puts it this way: Tataha viprata tasmat, and then it says here, Vaidika dharma marga parata. Vaidika dharma marga parata. So the steadfast on the path of spiritually enjoined by Vedas. Meaning what? That living a sattvic life is even more rare. Sattvic life is what? Now let's go into that a little bit here. So there are 3 types, the 3 modalities of the mind: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Most of the people on the earth are in the rajasic mind, and many are in the tamasic mind. And again, we can expound upon that quite a bit. Very simply to understand, tamasic is a state of great ignorance, of indolence, of non-activity. Rajasic is a state of passion, running after money, sex, position, power, those kinds of things. Sattvic attitude is a mode of goodness, a modality of purity, of higher contemplation, wanting to go beyond the sattvic and rajasic. Wanting to go beyond the tamasic and rajasic, seeing the limitations and the great pain that is there in the rajasic and tamasic pursuits. One who recognizes that will endeavor to become more sattvic. That endeavor to become more sattvic is more rare also. That is what he's saying here. So human birth is rare, then to attain full manhood is rare, womanhood, like we said before, and to attain sattvic attitude in life is even more rare. And what is even more rare beyond that? Even after gaining all these rare chances to have steadfastness on the spiritual path as explained in the Vedic literature is even rarer. To stay on the path. Now this thing is described as moksha marga. In Vachanamrut, Swaminarayan Bhagwan talks about this as a path of moksha, mukti no marg. In Gujarati he is spoken mukti no marg, moksha no marg, moksha nu dwar kevi rite ughadu thai. How does the doorway open? How does that doorway into liberation open? So those are the kinds of questions, and then many answers are certainly given there. We're going to get into all that stuff. So here we go. So he says here again in the Sanskrit language. Okay, so he says here that vidvatvam asmat param, all right, and then it is atmanatma vivekchudamani. The discrimination between real and unreal is even more difficult. So he's showing like a ladder. What is one thing is more difficult than another. So once one has a sattvic life, that kind of life is rare. And then Vaidika dharma marga parata, steadfastness on the path of spirituality enjoined by the Vedas. That kind of commitment and steadfastness on the path shown by the great acharyas, by the Vedic tradition, that is very rare. Somebody might have very sattvic life and all these other things, manhood and all those things that we talked about. But to stay on that path, to be steadfast is the word here. See, Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. That marga, Vaidika Dharma Marga. And to stay on that path, Parata, that is also Durlabham. See, Durlabham Ataha, Punsatvam Tataha, Viprata, Tasmat, Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Vidvatvam. Vidvatvam means correct knowledge of scriptures. That is also extremely rare. There is all kinds of mixed up knowledge out there. So to obtain the right understanding from the Vedic literature is even more rare. Even those who are steadfast on the spiritual path in the Vedas is rare. And to be on that path as explained in the Vedic literature is rare, like we said, and more so to have the correct understanding of the deep import of the scriptures. The right understanding of what the scriptures are actually saying, that understanding is needed to walk the path correctly. See, that's what he's saying here. Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata Vidvatvam Asmad Param Atmanatma Vivekchudamani. And then, in that sense, to discriminate between the real and the unreal. So, discrimination between the real and the unreal, that is Viveka, that discriminative sense. See, in the Sanskrit, Shankaracharya ji has written, Atmanatma Vivekchudamani. See, Param Atmanatma Vivekchudamani. So, that vivechan, that discriminative capacity to see the distinction between the two is very, very, very rare, even after walking on the spiritual path. That is in the Vedas, not just any old spiritual path. It's the Vedic spiritual path is even more rare. And the next point is that a personal realization of spiritual glory and ultimately to get fully established in living consciousness that the self in me is the self in all, these come later on and culminate in one's liberation. So, Adi Jagadguru Shankaracharya ji, he is stating here that the actual personal experience is called Swanubhava. Okay, so Atmanatma Vivekchudamani Swanubhava Brahmatma Sanstitihi. See, Atmanatma Vivekchudamani Swanubhava Brahmatma. It's actually Brahmatmana Samstitihi. So, Atmanatma Vivekchudamani Swanubhava Brahmatmana Samstitihi. See, this is so critical. Establishing the identity with Brahman, that I am not this body, I am the Brahman. I am the Brahma. I am the Akshara. Brahmatmana Samstitihi. And that is Swanubhava. So one's own direct experience, one's own direct state. The word experience is wrong, but it's a state. Anubhava is, you can say experience, but it's a realization. It's not a sensory experience. We use the word experience for the senses. That's not the case here. It is one's direct realization. That direct realization of oneself, and to recognize that what is not oneself, the discrimination between the real, which is the Atman, and the unreal, that is even more rare. And that happens only through Swanubhavaha. The example I would like to give about this is as follows. If you are standing on a beach, let's say you and your best friend are standing on a beach and the sun is about to come up and your eyes are closed, but your friend's eyes are open. And let's assume for a moment you have never seen a sunrise, just hypothetically. You're standing on a beautiful beach somewhere, wherever that might be. And because your eyes are closed, you cannot see the sunrise. You're not able to see the sunrise. But the other individual who is standing next to you is seeing the sunrise and is describing it to you, how beautiful the sun is golden and there's just beautiful clouds and there's light everywhere. There's a description that he's giving. So you, with your eyes closed, do not know how to open your eyes. You don't even know that your eyes are closed. And your friend is saying, open your eyes and see the sun. He says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by eyes, and I don't know what you mean by opening them. So then the person with their eyes closed, let's say that's you, forms images and ideas about what the sun is based on the description of the friend. So the description given is formed as ideas and images with the eyes closed, and the person starts imagining what the sun is like, and those images form in the mind. That is mental projection. That isn't direct experience. That isn't personal anubhav, personal experience, personal seeing the sun. That is what Shankaracharya means by swanubhava, swanubhavaha. This point here about anubhav is also written by Maharajas Paramahansas in many, many places. Muktanand Swami, who was one of the greatest Paramahansas of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he's written a verse called, in his various places, he has stated in a particular stanza, in one of the pads that he has written, Anubhavi Anandama Brahmarasana Bhogire Jivana Mukta Jogya Antara Arogire. So those Paramahansas of Maharaj took these really deep scriptures and put them in front of the general public with beautiful language, beautiful simple Gujarati, rhymed Gujarati and Gujarati language that could be understood by the people at that time who did not know the Sanskrit language or who did not have enough understanding about all the esoteric aspects and deeper aspects of these older scriptures. But nonetheless, so that's the beauty of it. And of course, there were great sages at that time, Maharaj's time, who had studied all these things. So anyway, I want to stay on this point here, that Swanubhava is personal experience, personal state of Brahmatmana Samstitihi. That one who is personally identified with Brahma, that I am that vast consciousness. I am not this limited being. This is the point. This is all very rare. That's what Shankaracharya is saying, that discrimination between the real and the unreal, a personal realization of spiritual glory, your own glory, who you are, and ultimately to get fully established in living consciousness. Now that establishment in living consciousness is something tremendous. That establishment, to be actually in that state, is but muktihi na u. Okay, so muktihi na u, and then there is Shatajanmakoti Sukrutehi Punnehi. So this is the thing. So Muktihi Na U Shatajanmakoti Sukrutehi Punnehi. The merits of hundreds of cores of lives lived intelligently. Meaning what? The living such a life with so much punya, like many lives in the past, have to be lived in such a beautiful way, such a wonderful way, so that one gets fully established in living consciousness. That is the whole point. That this kind of a perfect liberation cannot be obtained without the meritorious deeds of many millions of well-lived lives. We say this in the Swaminarayan satsang all the time. Purvanu punya phalya. Right? I think one of the bhajans is like this. When you have punya from the past lives, then you get the satsang. Then we get this contact of Sadguru and Bhagavan. All of this happens with the past Shubh Sanskaras. That these are the meritorious deeds of many millions of well-lived lives. Then one is prepared to move into a liberated state eventually. And in that liberated state, the realization is that the living consciousness of the self in me, that who I really am, is the same Atman existing in everybody. There's no difference at all. Although the Jivatmas, according to Vishishtadvaitam, are all separate, the multiplicity of souls, that is not the case in Advaita Vedanta, that because it is a state of realization. The multiplicity, according to Ramanujacharya and Bhagavan Swaminarayan, is the actual truth, that their Jivatmas are all different. But Shankaracharya says they only appear different. They're all one. They're only one. So that is Advaita. There's a difference there. We'll get into all that stuff later on. So this is the second verse. Okay, so very, very interesting. And then, so Shankaracharya says here, Shata Janma Koti Sukrutehi Punnehi Vina Labhyate. That means that liberation, that muktihi na-u shata janma koti sukrutehi shata janma koti sukrutehi punnehi labhyate. That is the actual Sanskrit. Labhyate meaning gained. That without the merits of just crores of lives, so many lives lived correctly, intelligently, there is no way that mukti will happen. Now, where the difference here occurs with Bhagavan Swaminarayan opened this mukti path for everybody. Even if you don't have all of this thing. That's what's interesting about this. Let's say you don't know how much mumukshata you can have, or you don't know how to live a sattvic life, you don't know how to discriminate between the real and the unreal. None of these things that are talked about are present. So what did he do? He actually placed people in samadhi and gave them a glimpse of this higher realization. And in doing so, there was so much attraction from all around India at that time, that who is this individual and how has he come? And then when he actually opened up this path, so there's a thing in, there's a little bhajan in Gujarati, Kalasha Chadavyo Kalyana Nore, that he has opened up this path of mukti for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be the most tamasic person, doesn't have sattvic qualities, but the path is opened up in such a way that once the contact with Bhagavan happens, Swaminarayan Bhagavan and the Guru Parampara, etc., once that contact happens, that it's a living wire. It's like a living truth. And when that contact happens with the satsang, with the mantras, with the bhajans, just by going inside there, things begin to change. Now, of course, there's no doubt it requires some, purva merits. These things happen when the satsang is there. Even in Gujarati, it says in the Swaminarayan satsang, sarva sadhanu phala satsang che. So it's the same idea, but nonetheless, mukti is available for every human being. And even Shankaracharya will say that later on at some point. But he is showing the actual reality behind how difficult and how rare mukti really is. It's not something that just happens like that. It happens for those who are ready for it to happen. It happens for those who want it to happen, who have the background for it. Otherwise the mind is just trapped in Rajogun and Tamogun, and also in Sattvagun. So that entrapment is there. So this is verse number 2 in Vivekchudamani. There are very, very interesting parallels. And that is my goal here, to try to actually bring these parallels out. Because if you look at Vachanamrutam, whatever is talked about so far in here is in the Vachanamrut also. Maharaj did not reject this. He's kept all of this. But he went a step further and said, Jene joyete avo moksha magavarelol. Anybody wants mukti, come, you can get it. It's not like a sale or something like that. You can just buy it. It's not like that. But the grace is like that. The grace, krupa. The grace is so much there. Karuna, krupa. So it is so much there that anybody who comes can very rapidly become sattvic and then go into the higher consciousness. If the track that is laid out by Shree Swaminarayan Bhagavan is captured. So there are many organizations right now, they're mostly in Gujarati. In fact, they're all in Gujarati language, but someday that will expand beyond the Gujarati language. And what will happen is that the path will open up for everybody, because it should not be restricted to the Gujarat area only. It's for everybody. But that path is available. And if we don't recognize that this is available, then we have lost the opportunity of the human body. Now, I want to make it a little bit universal, that these truths are in all religions in various places in various ways. Some have them at higher levels, some don't have them at that level necessarily. So whatever religion there may be, or if you don't have any religion at all, if you're listening to this, but if you want to find liberation, if you can see the bondage that exists in this world, if you can see that this world and the body and its mind and all the processes are highly limited, and you're looking for that infinite fountain of pure joy and bliss, of consciousness, awakened consciousness, you're looking for something like that, then the Vivekchudamani is a great place to do some study. And my recordings here are there to specifically cut through a lot of the difficulties in understanding the scriptures and see if we can open them up clearly. I also want to point out that every word in the Vivekchudamani, every word written by Bhagavan Swaminarayan or other great sages, they are for the whole of humanity. They are not by any means only for a group of people. That is just not the case. So it is Sarva Jiva Hitava. Swaminarayan Bhagavan, he also said, that this is for everybody. He wants to see all Jivatmas get liberated. So it is very interesting. It is a very deep subject, but it is for those who want mukti. And we will see in our next recording in the third verse that the desire for liberation, called mumukshutvam, is very rare. I'll just quickly say the verse right now because it's right in front of me, and then we'll expand upon that next time. The third verse is Durlabam Trayamevetad Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Saumshrayaha Durlabam Trayam Eva Etat Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Saumshrayaha. That this, and I will expand upon that next time, but this desire for liberation is very, very rare. Who wants to be liberated? People don't want to be liberated because they're not aware that they're bound. How can you be liberated if you're not aware that you're bound? So the recognition of bondage is the foundation for even the desire for liberation. So we'll start with that next time. We'll get into all this next time. I pray to Bhagavan Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Swaminarayan, all the great sages, so that they can bless me to continue this exposition. And we will get into it step by step. I want to draw a very interesting parallel between Vivekchudamani, Bhagavan Shankaracharya's this particular scripture, and the Swaminarayan scriptures and Maharaj's work in the current sampradaya, the way it is right now. There is a tremendous amount of misunderstanding and lack of proper connection among these sampradayas, and how they are all interconnected together. Rather than one being against another, they are synchronous and interlinked rather than contradictory. So that vision is in my mind, and I'm sure that is the vision in Bhagavan Swaminarayan's mind. He interlinked it all together, and he may be the only one that has done it that way. He took pieces from Shankaracharya, from Ramanuj, from Nimbark, from Vallabhacharya, from everywhere. He put it all together, and we will go into various Vachanamrut also that will show how that interlinkage has happened, about Nirvikalpa and Savikalpa and so many different words that are there. Even the yoga scriptures of Patanjali Yoga, all of that will be covered in this also. So we're going to get into this step by step by step. Just ask for God's blessings and blessings of all the great sages so that this work can continue. I cannot do this in another language. This has to be done in English because I don't know the Gujarati or Hindi language that well to be able to expound myself adequately, clearly, and lucidly. So there we are. We'll cover next verse is going to be number 3 in the next recording. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Hari Om.